So hi, my name is Julie Crystal. I am here to share with you my, let's say, life experience with depression and the 12 tips or solutions and tricks that I've used to help me get out of depression without spending a lot of money on therapy or things like that. Even though I think therapy and seeing a psychologist is awesome, but when you don't have the money or the resources, it could be quite difficult, or finding the right person also is very important. So I would say that YouTube has been a lot of my guide, including myself, on the ways that I have been able to process depression. I really want to share this with people because depression is very, very difficult. I don't want people to feel alone. I'm actually expressing myself as someone who's been depressed, so I'm showing my vulnerability. And I think that people need to share more these vulnerabilities because everybody has vulnerabilities. I think everybody on this planet somehow is depressed. Not everyone, but a lot of people are some form or another. There's different levels, and obviously there's different solutions for everyone. So these are the tips that I used. So I definitely advise people to use their own discernment with anything. These are just tips that I used. So, who am I? Well, I am a human being. I am Canadian, presently living in France. I have a husband and a 7-year-old son. I am 43 years old, even though right now the lighting right now, yeah, I can understand why actors look better on screen than in real life. So I have the luxury of having these. So what can you tell about me? Well, I don't know. I've taught English. I taught English abroad. I went to Taiwan. I went to South Korea. I did Colombia. I did a master's in Sweden. I have a bachelor's degree in international business and education and a master's degree in international ethnic relations. So as you can see, even though I was a depressed person, I was able to accomplish some things in my life. I was a teacher. I taught kids and adults, and yeah. So that's a little bit about me, about my identity, I guess, here on Earth. And now I'm trying to change it. I'm trying to express myself, which I think a lot of people, when they're feeling down, they lack of expression. So I'm taking a lot of courage right now just to do it. So I'm going to tell you about how I felt when I was depressed. So if you're feeling alone or how you feel, I'm just going to express how I felt because sharing my emotions, how I felt is good to know that you're not alone. So pretty much number one is that I felt alone. When I was depressed, I felt alone. I definitely did not feel emotionally supported because obviously, I don't know, there's this touche, this person's depressed, it's a rich person's illness. So even my husband didn't understand exactly what depression was, so I always felt a little bit like, okay, he didn't understand it. Every time I was depressed, I was really trying to hide it, but it was getting more and more difficult. Definitely feels of laziness. Definitely feel like I was lazy. There was something wrong with me. Definitely, I didn't want to exist. I definitely did not have some pretty thoughts. Like I would never have done anything to myself, but I definitely had suicidal thoughts. Like I just didn't want to be there. The emotions are up and down. And the worst about being depressed is that you feel that you're lucky. Like you have a house, you still have a family that loves you. I didn't come up from a perfect family, but I still was loved. I had shelter, I had food. I had good friends. I came from a decent family. It wasn't perfect. Like, no, I don't think there is a perfect family right now on the planet. But I was loved, so I didn't understand why I was depressed. I never felt enough, so when depressed, never felt like I was good enough. That's definitely, energy was very heavy. My ego was never satisfied. Little voice in your head that either puts you down, never satisfied. Wow, it was really, really tough. I felt really stuck in my body. I definitely felt like a victim, even though, like, definitely a big victim, like, just powerless victim, didn't feel good. No support, no one understood me. Like, no one understood me. I felt so alone. I felt different. I was starting to compare myself to others. Why are other people not depressed? Why are other people making more money than me? Why are people able to have better careers? Why? It's just constantly yeah, and I felt overwhelmed. So depression, I was just overwhelmed with emotions, and that's what happens. You just shut down. You just can't process anymore. Definitely judging myself. I'm not good enough. Definitely the judgment, putting myself down. So that's how I felt like when I was depressed. So if you feel these emotions, let me tell you, this is not who you are. All this that I was saying, poof, it's not you. It is not you, and that's something that I had to learn the hard way. This process is not easy. I'm not going to say that, wow, I'm going to cure my depression with these 12 tips overnight. No, it is a process. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So anybody that feels depressed, and this is like without therapy, like I mean, YouTube has really, really helped me. So YouTube and sometimes you fall around the right book, or I don't know, the universe, I don't know, the right people come, I don't know. So I'm not going to say it's easy, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And it depends for different people. So stop comparing yourself to other people. Some people are not as depressed as other people, and I don't know, they have more energy, they're more goal focused oriented, or I don't know. So I had to stop comparing myself. This is who I am, and if I'm like this, it's probably for a reason. So maybe because I can share this experience with people, because I think depressed people are really awesome people. They're actually, I think most of the time, really awesome and good people. Like, I'm a good person. Like, why am I feeling this? It's not you. This is not you. All these thoughts. So, what I wanted to say. So, the 12 steps that I wanted to share with you were, number one. Number one would be to accept that you're depressed. A lot of the times I was resisting the emotion. Judging myself. Why am I depressed? What's wrong with me? But I just started to accept that I was depressed instead, and it really, really helped me. Stop resisting. I found this on a TED Talk called "A Woman" by Angelica Gallazza. So every video that I used or helped me out, I'm gonna post them under the YouTube channel. So number one, stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself and judging yourself. There's just one you that exists. There's no one other person, and you are awesome. Okay. And allowance. So allowance is another thing. So when you're married or you have kids, it's really good when you have a supportive husband, or the child understands that you just need time alone, that you need time to process it, and then allow that allowance to rest and to accept it, the emotion, even though sometimes it's not easy, because when we don't accept it or resist it, that's when we want to eat, we want to smoke, we want to do whatever. So number two, this is from a psychologist that actually experienced depression. So this very brave psychologist called Dr. Scott Eilers, if I'm pronouncing it right. He said that celebrate all the smallest actions. So when you're depressed and you're in bed, which I know, and you don't want to get up, like you just don't want to live, just getting out of bed, you pat yourself in the back. So I find that a lot of people that are depressed, they have a hard time rewarding themselves. There's no reward, So start rewarding yourself. Start looking on what you're doing right. So I got up, pat in the back. Okay, I went to the bathroom, pat in the back. I took a shower, pat in the back. Okay, I got up. I cleaned something. I cooked something. Just the littlest things. You pat yourself in the back and you focus on what you're doing right, not on what you're doing wrong. Number three would be what we call compassionate inquiry. This is from a doctor named Dr. Gabor Mate. He has written many books. One of them was on Scattered Minds, which is on HGD. And he also created what we call compassionate inquiry, which is a psychotherapeutic method that is used by thousands of therapists today and psychologists over around 80 countries to help people, I guess, with depression or addictions or HGD. He's really good. So what he states is that instead of, when you're depressed, instead of saying, what's wrong with me, which I did all the time, you say, okay, why am I feeling this way? Because when you're saying what's wrong with me, you're pretty much stating that you're not good enough, or there's something wrong with you. Like, you're just not good enough, But instead of saying, okay, you change the question, why am I feeling this way? What triggered the emotion? So you start questioning these emotions instead of believing all these negative thoughts about you. Why am I thinking this about myself? Because I realized I was putting these like thoughts in my head. What's wrong with me? I'm not good enough. No confidence. And I was like, I'm a good person. Like I was a good person. I did a lot of stuff in my life. Like I told you, like I went to Taiwan. I traveled the world. Drove a motorcycle in South Korea. Like, you know, I'm like, why? Like, why is this coming up? Doesn't make any sense. You know, are the negative thoughts true? Are they true? You know, sometimes I would feel like a worthless piece of shit, and I'd be like, no, that's not true. You know, I'm a good person. And I'm a good friend. I'm not perfect, but I've been a good friend. As a mom, I've been pretty good. But that's another thing. As a mom, mom guilt. Oh God, do moms like mom guilt or parent guilt? Did I have a lot of that? So that also did not help. You're judging yourself with other moms or the society. So that's something that I've learned also to let go. But that's a whole other video. So you have to ask yourself, what part of you is convinced that you're not good enough? What are these thoughts? Are they true? For me, what experienced me personally, and I'm not the only expert, is that definitely you weren't. Usually, it means that you weren't emotionally supported when you were young, okay? Or you have multi-generational stress or depression in the family, but doesn't mean that you can't solve it. The one number 3 would be with everybody knows Eckhart Tolle. So Eckhart Tolle, he's a spiritual teacher. He wrote The Power of Now and A New Age, An Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. So actually, I'm not a big reader. However, the self-help book, The Power of Now, and the second one, A New Age, The Awakening of Your Life's Purpose, is actually very good. The second book, A New Age, Awakening of Life's Purpose, actually came to me. I was actually at my sister's house, and I just found it, and I started reading it. And this one was really good because it pointed out patterns and triggers, and then I was being aware of more what triggered me, what triggered my emotions, and maybe what caused what triggered my negative emotions. However, he says that, again, the same thing as Dr. Mate would be, look at the thoughts that's created in your head. Because what happens is that when you start looking at the thought, you stop believing them. Again, easier said than done. This is where affirmations come in. But you slowly start changing the programming. And the thoughts are creating the emotions, and the emotions are creating the thoughts. So it's a vicious cycle because the emotions are so strong too. Sometimes it's not easy. But when you stop believing them, that's when you're able to process the emotion in your body without reacting to it. But again, it takes time. Again, you accept the emotions, but without the thoughts. So once you slowly improve the affirmations and stuff like that, when you're feeling a bit better, it does help. Number 4, which is something that's very difficult, is talk to someone that has already been through depression. That really makes you feel less alone, and it really feels good about yourself. So not feel good about yourself, but yeah, you feel good about yourself. You feel better about yourselves, and because you know that you're not alone, that you're not the only ones that's going through this. Number 5 would be go for a walk, go in nature. Even if you live in the city, go around the block. I don't know, go get yourself, a fruit or something. Get yourself in nature. So this is very hard when you're depressed because your body doesn't want to do anything. You're really, really, really in a flight mode. However, if you have the energy to get up and just change the pattern. So when you're depressed, what's really important is try to change the patterns. Try to change your thought process, the patterns, and how you think. That's really important. Number 6 is the affirmations. Don't get me wrong, you do affirmations one time, it's not going to change your life. For me, it took me 90 days. So they say 21 days, some people say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So it depends on your level. It definitely took me 90 days. And you have to continue, when you're feeling down and negative thoughts, have a phrase that really works well for you, that you replace with a negative thought. So for me, a lot of affirmations was Louise Hay's, was really, really good. I liked Bob Baker. Again, all of these I'm going to list on the YouTube video. So for me, it was 90 days. And obviously, some days when you're really depressed, I always be like, screw the meditation, screw the affirmations. They weren't always easy, but it definitely helped, So some affirmations that I have, I'm going to read them, even though I should know them by heart, but I have brain fog when I'm on the video. Number 1 would be, I'm divinely guided and protected at all times. I release all negative thoughts about the past and all worries about the future. So like just have an affirmation of releasing, like I let go of these negative thoughts and depression, it helps over time. Doesn't do miracles when you say it once, but it does give you an intention. With intention is really important. I'm willing to release the pattern within me that is creating this experience or situation. So that's really helped. Another one is all is well in my world. Everything is working out for me and I am safe. So when you feel like I am protected, I am feeling safe. So when you're depressed or not, you're not feeling very well. You're not feeling self, not feeling emotionally supported. These are Louise Hay's affirmations, but there are other ones. Again, I will put them in the YouTube description below. Number 7, honestly, this one is breath work. Breath work worked a little bit better for me than the meditations, even though meditation's awesome. But the breath work really helped me with my body, because when you're depressed, the body's under a lot of stress. So I started with Wim Hof breathing technique. So you breathe in 30 times and then like you hold your breath for, like, let's say 30 seconds. You do another 30 times, you hold your breath for a minute, and then you do 30 times, and it's about like 11 minutes in all. The guided meditation is pretty good. I started doing it, and even if you don't have 11 minutes, you just do the first, let's say 30 minutes is really good, And again, this is when you're feeling a bit better with depression and stuff like that. Breath with Sandy is really good too. He's another YouTube channel videoer. There's one on anxiety and depression, and it helps with the vagus system, nervous system. So our bodies are under a lot of stress because we're constantly in survival mode, even though we have absolutely no tigers chasing us. We're just stressed because of our thoughts and our society, and always the same thing, money, it's always the same thing, paperwork, and all that stuff. So these are the 2 breathing techniques. I would say that this really helped me out a lot because the breathing techniques, and it actually made me less sick as I was doing it almost every day. I don't know. Out of 2 years, I've been sick only once, and I had a bronchitis, and I think that's totally linked to to fear and all that stuff. I do believe that every emotion or illness is linked to something, even though it's not always evident. Number 8 would be the EFT tapping, so the emotional freedom technique, which is a tapping, which is really good. So again, I really believe that when you're depressed or have a strong negative emotion, it's just that these emotions get trapped in the body. We don't know how to release them. In nature, they release it automatically. You never see if a duck's fighting and let's say one of the ducks fly away. Well, I mean, the duck's not going to be like, oh my god, he was so mean, like, oh my god, I feel so bad, I lost them. There's none of this going on in the duck's head or animals' heads, So we need to release this energy out of our bodies. So what is EFT tapping? Okay, pretty much it works with the acupuncture, the meridians of your body. So pretty much like you tap on places in the body that sense calming signals to the amygdala, which is a part of the brain that pretty much registers fight or flight. So when you send signals to the body, it's pretty much saying that it's safe, So there's different points. So first you do the karate chop on the side of the hand, here in the corner of the eyebrows, side of the head, under the nose, under the chin, on the chest here, under the armpits, and on top of the head. So what do you do when you do this? So you start. I'm doing a very quick example, but again, I will send you the videos that I used to help me out under the YouTube channel, YouTube webpage. All right. So first of all, you say to yourself, you take a moment and you pretty much start. Okay, tapping. Even though I'm feeling depressed, I'm deeply and completely accepting myself. I don't want to feel depressed, and I can't seem to help it, and I want to enjoy my life, but some mornings I find it very hard to get out of bed. I find that sometimes I have no energy to get out, and I just don't feel like existing. And then you repeat it a second time with a bit of a more positive affirmation. So you say, okay, I don't like feeling depressed, but what can I do? Maybe I have the power to change. Whatever depression I feel, I'm going to take it one day at a time. I acknowledge all these dark emotions and feelings, that I have. I choose to release them now and let them go. I believe that my depression can be solved, but at this present moment, I completely and utterly accept myself. So here is again is accepting yourself. So you're tapping it and you're tapping yourself and you're accepting how you're feeling instead of resisting it and trying to find a solution to them. Number 9 would be guided meditation. Obviously, meditation is very good. There's a lot of good meditations out there. There's a self-love meditation I'm going to put down. It had more than 1 million views. Headspace is really good. The application is really good for Headspace. It's not, you have to pay for it, but the application on the phone, it's about, I don't know, maybe $70 I think a year, but it's a really good application if you want to start meditating. There's Muji meditation. Muji, he's a bit more in the spiritual, get the mind free, which something's really hard when you have this everyday life. However, his meditations guide me. They just help me with my mind and just let go, let go of the mind, and it's not easy at first. That's why I would say go with the breathing and then go to meditation, but whatever works for you. Meditation is really important. Even Louise Hayes has really good meditations, so I really suggest them. Number 10, this is when you're feeling like you don't feel like affirmations or meditations, is frequency music. So there's many different types of frequency, like 432 hertz or 992 hertz. There's tons of stuff on YouTube. There's crystal bowls so this is like for calming the body, crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls. Again, I'll send you some links at the bottom so that you can listen to them. This is usually when you're lazy, you just need to change your thoughts when it's really, really hard. Number 11 is the Ho'oponopono prayer. So this prayer I think is very, very powerful. There's an awesome YouTube meditation on it. It has over 3 million views. This one is it's like a prayer of forgiveness to yourself, also for others, but it really helps you to forgive yourself. And once you continue doing this meditation, even the first time you do it is very powerful. If you continue doing it for, again, like 20 days, it can really help with depression. Forgiving yourself is the hardest thing I find, or then forgiving others. But forgiving yourself it's not always easy. So it's a prayer that you pretty much say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And each one is like, I'm sorry. You pretty much say you have compassion for yourself and saying, like, I'm sorry that I'm feeling this way, and it's okay, Please forgive me. You give yourself forgiveness for whatever you're feeling, I love you. You give yourself unconditional love no matter what, and thank you. You try to, you give gratitude for the experience and try to let go of the past experiences so it doesn't come back over and over again in the future, like depression. So this is a very powerful forgiveness meditation. I really recommend it if, when you're feeling a bit better and I just try it out. And number 2 would be journaling. A lot of people write, when you're journaling, you write down your emotions because it helps you express out those depression feelings. So sometimes you're just stuck in your head. You're just going over and over and over. Oof, you're going crazy. It's like something stuck in your head. So when you're journaling, at least you're expressing out. So I think also people, when they're depressed, they don't really express themselves. So as I'm doing right now, I'm expressing myself and it actually feels good. So those are the 12 tips and tricks or solutions that I have helped. This has taken me years, and I don't want to discourage people to take years. It could take people months, and within the time, I was really, really down, like depressed, really, really down. And right now I really feel there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm aware of my negative thoughts now. When I am feeling down or I have a negative energy, I realize that I'm like, nope, and I try to change. I go for walks. I change the pattern. I train the programming. It's much, much, much better. So I just want to say that people are depressed. There is a solution. There is hope. There is hope, and don't despair because all those thoughts and feelings that you have, the emotions, is not you. They're not you. So anyways, gratitude, lots of love. All right. Thank you. Bye.